What is up, everybody? This is RybackStun. We have returned to Marvel Heroes. This is third in a series of vacation videos because I don't want to leave you guys barren without anything happening while I'm away on vacation. Today we're going to take a look at Magik. Now, I have not done a Magik build prior to this, so here will be the first time. The way that I run Magik is basically melee summoner. Team-up-wise, I run Magik as my team-up because it's hilarious. Costume-wise, I generally run this or the all-new Marvel Now one, which is also amazing. Thank you very much, The Dink, for making two amazing costumes and a third that is actually out, I believe, as of the time this video releases. I don't remember exactly. But right on to the build. It's a very easy, quick build. Essentially, it uses powers on every tree, and it spreads points across, so you don't have to worry about too much stuff in terms of what happens with the build. So, in Soul Sword, use Soul Cleaving as your main spirit spender because it deals extra damage for each of your demons that are out. I use Sorcerous Eruption because it's a nice big AoE. It has a 4-second cooldown when I activate Eternal Servitude has a point in it. And then I use Soul Sever as my execute because Vengeful Spirit isn't as incredibly strong, and Soul Sever has a mechanic built into it that essentially, when your enemy hits 50% or less, it's already doing more damage than you would necessarily need for the crit on the charges, so you can just attack, no problem, and use it on cooldown. Then we have our passive Mastery of the Soul Sword, which is not activated, not toggled on, but it does give me damage rating, crit hit rating, crit damage rating, damage reduction when I hit with a melee power, and summoned ally damage, which is the main part of the kit, summoned ally damage. The two demons that I use are Lesser Demons and Nestir himself. Nestir is able to target a big AoE bomb when activated, so that way you do a ton of extra damage, and he does range damage across the board. It doesn't take as much damage in general, and the Lesser Demons act as a shield for Magik in essence. When attacks go towards you, as long as they're not piercing attacks, they will generally hit the Lesser Demons first, and then I also have 1 point in Eternal Servitude, specifically for the passive effect. I don't use it for any other reason, just to give Sorcerous Eruption a big old boom of attack. Now, I have 1 point in Spirit Fangs. I don't put any more points into it, but it is a nice little filler attack to use when necessary, because it does do extra damage based upon how much summon ally damage I have. I have 12 points, specifically, because I have done Limbo in Eldritch Armor to gain defense and deflect as well as summon ally health, and then 13 points in Vampiric Incantation to gain the mental damage, the regeneration and spirit restore when you hit an affected enemy, slow, vulnerability, and weaken as well as explosion through the passive weaken. Or through the specialization weaken, excuse me. You can use amplified damage to basically double up on vulnerability, but I like the weaken because it allows me to do energy explosions. Actually, I think it's mental explosions. Yeah, mental explosions when enemies die while it's activated on them. And then your signature Otherworldly Nova. A big chunk of damage as well as it activates. It applies the damage over time effect of Vampiric Incantation. Your demons will deal 100% extra damage for 8 seconds, and it regenerates health and spirit. In terms of Omegas, this is different simply because it's a summoner, so you run different things. You still run Spin Tech because everybody runs Spin Tech. But in terms of other stuff, I run 10 out of 10 in Merge and Possess as well as Shadow King's Possession for the summoned ally damage. I run 10 out of 10 in Stepford Cuckoos because when you hit, your summoned allies gain damage, crit chance, and brutal chance for 5 seconds. 1 out of 1 in Overmind's Power for the intellect, and then 3 out of 10 in Supreme Intelligence for also intelligence. Next, we have 3 out of 10 in Anthrogenesis, I think is what it's called. Basically for the summon ally damage, the minor bit of it, but as well as intelligence, which is the most important part of it. In terms of neural enhancement, we have 10 out of 10 in combat Rorschach training because we do drop a vulnerability. In special weapons, we have 10 out of 20 in shield leadership for summon ally movement speed when you're attacked. When you drop below 50% health, summon allies have an additional 10% crit hit chance and brutal strike chance for 10 seconds. And when you hit, summon allies gain 10% bonus damage for 10 seconds. And then 20 out of 20 in shield assault weaponry for 20% increased weapon damage, and 2 out of 20 in shield uniform, which was basically leftover points. Next, we have 4 out of 10 in Psylocke for the mental damage, 3 out of 10 in Frenzy for the crit damage based upon melee, and then 25 out of 25 in Blob for the health, defense, and tenacity, sacrificing dodge rating. And then a little bit of counterintuitiveness. I have 1 rank in Hulk, which drops intelligence, but 3 ranks in Red Hulk, which increases intelligence, basically giving me a net gain of 2 for probably more points than I should have spent in the first place. So that's something I'm definitely going to have to look into. For synergies, also fairly easy. You use Cable and Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange for mental damage, Ghost Rider for mental crit, Jean Grey for mental damage. We use Magik for health on hit as well as summon ally damage. Rocket Raccoon for summon ally damage and summon ally health, Psylocke for mental damage, and then War Machine for spirit and fighting, Wolverine for brute strike chance and brutal damage. In terms of items, everything is blessed with Frigga. Summon ally damage, summon ally health, and 50 spirit. This is why I don't run out of spirit pretty much anytime ever. I run a blessed Mole Man Staff for damage rating, attack speed, summon ally damage, and then a chance to summon a Moloid Leaper. I run Armor Alternate Reality Chaos Portal for summon ally damage, summon ally health for myself, as well as a chance to summon a random being from a different universe for 20 seconds. Raptor Stone gives me attack speed, summon ally damage, and a chance to summon a raptor. And then Blessed Armor Legion Armor Sheath for brutal strike rating, intelligence, health, and summon ranks to summon powers. I run a Manate Medallion for summon ally damage, summon ally health, crit strike, and brutal strike rating. The reason why I don't run Sinister is simply because there's just too many summons on the screen at one time, which is also why I don't run a Sharvis Neatum. 1,000 Armor Alternate Reality Relics give me 25.3% summon ally damage. I'm running a Dupe Inspiration for summon ally damage, crit hit rating, spirit, brutal strike, health, and defense rating. A level 80 Neptune's Trident for summon ally health, summon ally damage, crit hit rating, damage rating, and then a bunch of extra procs, which do a minor amount of damage and look pretty on the screen. We have a Mental Damage Demon Stone with summon ally damage, fighting, and summon ally health. I am using her own slot 1 because I do use a lot of the melee stuff in that tree. I'm using her own slot 2 for the spirit cost reduction, as well as the ranks to Eldritch Armor and Vampiric Incantation, as well as the chance to proc energy and intelligence. I'm using a Latverian Monarch Cloak for the summon ally damage, the health, the spirit cost reduction, and the medkit heal, as well as the chance to grant my summons crit hit rating, as well as it has a rank of fighting on it. Her own Earth 4210 boots, because it gives summon ally damage. When you activate a sorcery power, your melee attacks give you defense and brutal strike rating with melee powers. You have spirit on hit, ranks to demon powers, ranks to limbo powers, and ranks to all powers. And then an Octobot controller. This is one of the most important parts of the build because it gives you that health, crit hit, brutal strike, a large amount of intelligence, a large amount of summon ally damage. Your medkit will heal you and restore an additional 50 spirit and heal your summons, and it gives you ranks to all powers and ranks to summon powers. In terms of Magik herself, I don't have any affixes on her, but if I did, they'd be crit damage. I do have a Bifecta on her. She has a Nick Fury with health and spirit. The reason why I use Nick Fury is because it gives you summon ally damage as well as intelligence. Notice the swords move at the same time. On the Pot of Groot, I have intelligence, ranks to melee power, base to mental damage, credits per drop, and enemy. You take less damage for enemy area powers. The green and blue can be fixed, but it's not super important. So, before we leave, let's show you how we summon the demons. F for Nastir, D for a lesser demon, D for a lesser demon, and to show you how this works, when you're on your last point of command or your command is already reserved, if you hit a button, they will all jump, and Nastir himself will make an attack towards your enemy. So, per usual, Taskmaster Institute. Because Magik is a teleporter, it's fairly easy to utilize her abilities through combat. She just teleports, and boom, it also does a little bit of damage on a 3-second cooldown at your teleportation location. The build is pretty simple. You activate your Vampiric Incantation for your vulnerability and your weaken. You then activate Sorcerer's Eruption to do a bunch of damage in an area around you. Activate your Lesser Demon simply because that is the cheaper way to do it, and they activate all of the skills at once. Spirit Fangs activate Soul Sever on an enemy once you have all your 5 stacks before they're at 50%. Signature when needed for spirit or health, or just if you want the damage. And then once an enemy is lower than 50% health, activate Soul Sever for a bunch of damage. Oh, I got a Taskmaster's Guide for losers. Sweet. And instead of going to Curse, let's do this armor buff to get... before we do that, let me grab this holiday buff. There we go. Let's do Magneto, because Magneto is just, in my opinion, just as difficult as Curse is. So, should be fairly easy. We're not going to mess with anybody in combat. It's fairly self-evident on how you defeat enemies in combat. You just rotate your cooldowns and make sure your Sorcerer's Eruption is available for big groups, if absolutely necessary. Because Magik is a porter, she can run through content fairly easily, much like most porters can. And we head right in here, and basically we're going to do the exact same thing to Magneto that we did to Taskmaster. Vampiric Incantation, Sorcerer's Eruption, launch all of the enemies at them, Soul Sever inside, activate the signature, Spirit Fangs when necessary. There's a bug that has yet to be fixed with the signature. Basically, it in certain areas with walled components, it basically shoots straight up. Right there, I think he still took the damage regardless, but it's not nice to have your powers not work. So eventually that will work in every zone. It basically fails every time in aim facility, which means it also fails in aim danger room, which sucks. But my Magik is pretty good. I've been able to solo a few epic danger room scenarios, but not cosmics as of yet. But in group cosmics, you're perfectly fine, as most characters generally are. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did showcasing it to you. Remember to like and comment on the videos, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Tumblr at RybackStun. Remember, we stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday Marvel Heroes at 12 p.m. and Tuesday at 3 p.m. all PST. So come join us, ask questions, have fun. We can do group content together, all that fun stuff. Thank you very much for coming out. This has been RybackStun, and I am signing out.